Let's bring in constitutional attorney and former member of President Trump's transition team, Mark Smith. Mark, legally speaking, not politically, but legally speaking, what impact does this conviction have on Donald J. Trump going forward, both as a citizen and as a candidate?
Well, right now, because of this conviction under federal law, for example, Donald Trump has lost his right to keep and bear arms under the Second Amendment. He's not allowed to possess firearms. Under Florida law, where he's a resident, he is not allowed to vote as a convicted felon. And that's just the beginning of it. And of course, on July 11th, Todd, we're going to find out what this anti-Trump judge, who seems to be bent on doing whatever needs to be done to make it difficult for Donald Trump to campaign for president, we'll see what conditions are placed on Donald Trump. Will they put Donald Trump in prison, or will they make him, be locked down in Mar-a-Lago, his home, with an ankle bracelet? We don't know. But this is just the beginning of the constraints on Donald Trump and his run for the White House because of this court case in New York.
One of the things that I read that I thought was notable is that Donald Trump will likely be required to regularly meet with a probation officer. So think about what that would look like and how demeaning that would be for a former president. But we are expecting the Supreme Court to rule on presidential immunity. So how would a ruling like that impact this verdict?
Well, a decision on presidential immunity, it will not impact this verdict, because the question before the Supreme Court now involves the federal cases with activities while he was the president of the United States. This charge in New York involved actions that occurred really before he was the president. So it's a little bit different than that. But yeah, politically, it will make a big deal. But at the end of the day, as a trial lawyer that's handled cases in the New York Supreme Court in the past, to me, this is not a historical moment, Carly. This is an embarrassing moment because of what went down here. I'm embarrassed for the rule of law in New York, which is non-existent in terms of what happened in this case, in my opinion, and the fact that I think that the Constitution was simply ignored here because, again, he's a criminal defendant, and I thought every benefit of the doubt went to the government in this case and not to the criminal defendant, Donald Trump. And yeah, I'm saddened by what I see in New York with the rule of law involving this case.
So Trump's fight is not over. They are going to appeal. Take us step by step through how the appeals process will play out. And Mark, of the dozens, if not hundreds of grounds for reversible error for appeal in this case, which are the ones that you think will be the most successful for Trump?
Well, the easiest way to overturn a verdict is always with flawed jury instructions, because if you give the jury flawed instructions, they're not following the law. Here, the easiest, clearest case of reversible error, in my view, is the fact that the judge did not require the jury to come to a unanimous decision as to what's known as the predicate crime, which is the crime that was allegedly being covered up by the alleged issues with the bookkeeping records. So the jury instructions, to me, are fatally flawed, and I think that will be the cleanest way for an appellate court to reverse. But the reality is it's going to take 6 or more months in the real world before an appellate panel will even hear oral argument. In the meantime, Todd, and this is what I've been harping on for quite some time here, there is no crime victim. The reason why that's important is the next step for Donald Trump in this process is to sit down and meet with a probation officer to talk about whether he has remorse, what went on here. And the probation officer is supposed to not only talk with the criminal defendant, they're also supposed to talk to the crime victims of the crime. And here there is no crime victim, so there's no one to actually talk to, which just goes further to show the absurdity of this entire situation. You literally have indicted and convicted the president of the United States, the former president, and yet you have no crime victim in the criminal justice system. Just another absurdity. And I think that is another thing that will add to the atmospherics of the appeal. Even though it's not legally relevant, it will be something the appellate court pays attention to, Todd.
And just a scheduling note here in New York, there is the sentencing, which will take place in this case on July 11th, and then Trump's lawyers can appeal from there. So there'll be a little bit of time before that process starts. Mark, thank you so much for your insight. Have a great day.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.